Hey guys, Ryan Earnhardt here from CreativeSoundLab.tv. Well, today I'm kind of going off the trail a little bit. I'm kind of digging up a plugin that I kind of ignored for a while, and it was in my preparation for a Sonic Scoop video that featured Soundtoys plugins that I dove into the H3000 factory by Eventide. Now, this is a emulation of the old hardware units, and they were famous for modulation, chorusing, harmonizing type effects, delays. And so I want to talk to you about the H3000 factory and also kind of a variation of it that specializes in delays. And man, it's like Soundtoys on steroids. They actually do have roots in Eventide, so there's actually a reason why a lot of these effects sound so familiar, because they are classic effects. And so we're kind of going upstream. We're going to the source here, instead of just going and using a more basic plugin like the Soundtoys Microshift, for example. We actually could go upstream and go back to their earlier work over at Eventide. We can actually check out and see the types of things you could do with the H3000. So this will be interesting. I'm not trying to necessarily compare it to the Microshift or any other modules by Soundtoys, but there are some direct references to certain settings. Mode 1 in the Microshift, Mode 2, certain classic settings in the H3000. So we could compare those a little bit, but I want to just kind of show off how much of an interesting, fun tool the H3000 is. Okay, so before we get started, I just want to mention that I still have available my free download. This is a free PDF. It costs you nothing. It's for all of my email list subscribers. It is a free plugins toolbox. So these are actually really great effects. These are not just things that like basically a gray plugin with a couple of sliders. No, these plugins are actually really nice to look at. They look like a Neve. They look like an SSL. You can kind of get a hint of what some of them look like based on the PDF guide cover. But this is my guide. It's free, available right now. You just go to the upper right of your screen, and it's basically my favorite free plugins that some of them are crowdsourced, but they cost nothing. They work on both Windows and PC, and they're not a promotion. It's not like free for the next 2 weeks and then $49. It's actually a free plugin. So that's one of my coolest guides. You can go download it right now. So on to the H3000. This thing has been really amazing. I mean, if you think about it, it's very complex, and a lot of this has been just going through presets. I'm not actually a big preset kind of guy, but I will say when you're learning something like this, especially when it comes to modulation, it can be very helpful because you kind of know what you want to do, maybe a vocal thickener. You could probably find a preset that's named that and then go from there. I don't necessarily want to have to patch and make all of this crap. This really is kind of, it looks very complicated, and because it looks complicated, it kind of does everybody a disservice, because you kind of say, I don't have time for this, so we're just not even going to have to really try. Like, let's just stick to the presets. There's actually some really great presets in here. And so, what I do is I find the preset that I like, and then, I just go over here and tweak kind of the big settings here, the ones that are most important. And so that's all I've done here, nothing too crazy. It's a really cool powerhouse for crazy not exactly crazy effects, because it's not as crazy as like the crystallizer, but there are some very, y- I would say it beats out a lot of the Soundtoys kind of spin-offs of the H3000. And it just sounds thicker, it sounds more mature, it sounds wider. Let me show you what I mean. Here's a track. We're gonna kick it up on vocal. Um, so right now I have just the H3000 on, well, of course, some other things too, but for our modulation, we have just the H3000 on vocal. Check this out.
Close the door, all the limits I face. 'Cause in every moment, you got a decision to stay deaf or to listen.
I mean, that sounds fantastic. It's a little dated sounding. Like that could be very 80s in a hurry, right? But just used subtly.
To a higher mind, a higher mind. Each reaction's a hallway, so many rooms to choose. Can take a step backwards, but that's not what I'll do. No one can buy me when I see it's a fake.
It's almost like the territory of that short reverb where you don't want to add like a long reverb that's just going to create a mess, but you want something to kind of lift it so it's not just a flat vocal sound, like a really dry vocal sound. So this is something that can kind of lift it, off the screen a little bit and actually kind of propel it into the space between the studio monitors. It kind of adds some three-dimensional factors to the vocal sound. So this is a key effect, I think, in vocal mixing, is something like this, where it kind of is short and adds some three-dimensional qualities. Now, I have a couple variations, but let's quick compare this to this, okay? So check this out. We're going to compare it, H3000 to the Microshift.
Each reaction's a hallway, so many rooms to choose. Can take a step backwards, but that's not what I'll do. No one can buy me when I see it's a fake.
Okay. Let's go back to the Eventide.
Each reaction's a hallway, so many rooms to choose. Can take a step backwards, but that's not what I'll do.
So yeah, very, very interesting. This to me, it just sounds, I don't know. It to me it sounds better. It sounds like it jumps out a little bit. It's wider. This sounds very good as well. It sounds almost I don't know. It's almost the difference between the plug-in and the hardware. you know, this is kind of funny because they're both plugins, but it's almost that effect where it's the same effect. It's just better somehow, and that's how I would describe it. This is very close, but it's just a touch better. Let me go and see. Just kind of go off script here for a second. So 231, I think number 1 is supposed to be the same. Okay? Check this out.
Each reaction's a hallway, so many rooms to choose. Can take a step backwards, but that's not what I'll do. No one can buy
Yeah, okay. And that sounds really nice. No, it does not sound really nice. It wasn't even on. Okay, let's try it again.
Just ain't deaf.
Yeah, okay. Rolling it back.
Each reaction's a hallway. So many rooms to choose. Can take a step backwards, but that's not what I'll do. No one can buy me when I see it's a fake.
Okay. Make sure I get it right this time. Here we go.
I'll close the door on the limits I face. Each reaction's a hallway. So many rooms to choose. Can take a step backwards, but that's not what I'll do.
See, to me, it almost sounds more liquid-like, you know? Microshift sounds very good, but it's just a little bit less alive, or something about it.
Each reaction's a hallway. So many rooms to choose. Can take a step backwards, but that's not what I'll do. No one can buy me when I see it's a fake. I'll close.
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar, but there's something more alive about the H3000 here.
The door on the limits I face.
It's almost definitely a more chorusy type sound.
Each reaction's a hallway. So many rooms to choose. Can take a step backwards, but that's not what I'll do.
So, you know, what that means is I could use less of the effect, really. You know, I could kind of sneak it in and use less. And then my mix isn't so burdened down and kind of masked with effects and things. So that's kind of the idea, is I can use less of it. It's more effective. Yeah. I'm going to take that, you know, with whatever you want of truth, whatever bit of truth you want. But this is great. I love this plugin. But going back to the source here, going kind of back to their roots, there's some cool stuff going on in this plugin. I mean, it's a lot of really cool sounds. Let's switch it up a little bit. Let's see here. Phantom Double. And I have a width knob. That's been on the whole time, so that's a fair comparison. But it is narrowed just a little bit. Width is, what, 54%? So, I mean, there's a lot of width here. We don't even need all of it. Let's check out this Phantom Double. Just make sure I only have one of these on. Yep. Okay. So check this out. Phantom Double.
Each reaction's a hallway. So many rooms to choose. Can take a step backwards, but that's not what I'll do. No one can buy me when I see it's a fake. I'll close the door on the limb.
Yeah, that's really cool. Here's another variation that I was playing around with.
Limits I face. 'Cause in every moment you got a decision.
Sounds great. Here's another one.
Just stay deaf or to listen to a higher mind.
Let's roll it back a little bit.
To a high, each reaction's a hallway.
So, really, really nice options here. It's like they're all good. Like all of these, I don't think I even adjusted them. I just kind of found them amongst the presets. And if I need to, I could adjust them. Like I've kind of messed with this a little bit. Kind of took me back to the propeller heads uh, reason, but yeah, like it's not hard to figure out. Like if you want to make it stereo, you can make it stereo. You can add a filter. It gives you options here. So it's really not hard. It looks daunting for sure, but use the presets. Okay, I mean, it sounds great. Okay, so just for the fact of just using presets, I think that's a winner. So check this out on let's see here. Yeah, I wanted to show you these too. So this is like a delay based type of effect. Instead of like a more of a modulation effect, we have kind of a more bigger, more obvious effect in the delays. So this one is called Tom Sweep, and man, it's crazy. It's just got you know all these kind of weird things going on. But I'm not using it on toms. I'm using it on vocals.
Each reaction's a hallway, so many rooms to choose. Can take a step backwards, but that's not what I'll do. No one can buy me when I see it's a fake. I'll close the door on the limits I face.
Crazy, right? I mean, really cool. Really cool. I don't know that I'd have it that loud in the mix, but I'm trying to be obvious for you guys. What's funny is that I get criticized for having things too loud in the mix, and I get comments like "Easy Tiger," But if I don't do that, you guys can't hear it, and then it's like, can you please turn up the effect? So I'm trying to make it obvious for you guys. Here's another one, Band Slap. Thought this was cool as well.
'Cause in every moment, you got a decision to stay deaf or to listen to a higher mind.
Yeah. So, I mean that's also very cool. You can hear those vocals cut in there that were created by the little altar boy. Um, the big difference and the uh kind of the advantage is the formant with the Soundtoys, because the H3000, I don't know, it doesn't seem to be a part of the effect, I guess. It just changes the pitch. Maybe I'm missing it, but that's the big advantage with the little Ultra Boy, is getting to change that formant. So, one more example is on guitar. I have this set up here. I have the H3000. It's it's kind of set up as just just a high pass type effect. And what this is doing with this filter, I could tell you I created this to kind of, get this to work. Is I wanted to emulate this knob here, this focus knob, because it's like a high pass for the effect. And so I have this as closely matched as I can over to compared to this right here. And I think this is like a stereo effect. I have a note here of like how it creates basically a cool stereo counterpart. Let's just take a listen here. Okay. Now let's go over here. And this is a little weird. It's like on a bus because the way I had to do it. So it's interesting because, I mean, I have some control over it, but the H3000, I can control the filter of the left and control the filter of the right. So my guitar is slightly panned to the right. At least I think it is somewhere. But so I know this. So I am taking a more aggressive high pass on the right, and then I'm letting some of those mid notes, those mid frequencies through on the left. So it kind of fills it out. It's, it's one guitar track, but I'm using this as a part of the effect to kind of create a balance between left and right.
Better
Let's take it back a little bit.
to a higher mind, a higher mind, a higher.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense because this is the individual track here. We're sending it to the effects bus here. So it is panned right, and then the effect itself can be basically thinned out. If it allows me to click, there you go. Thinned out on the right, and a little bit more full frequency here on the left. Okay, and that's versus the micro shift. Okay, let's see here.
All the limits I face.
There we go. It's almost like my plugins weren't like turning on for a second there. So we just don't have the control on this one. But on the H3000, we do. So yeah, that is that's a bit of the H3000. It has a lot of really powerful options. I'm just kind of playing around with the presets. That's all I'm doing. Definitely something to keep an eye out for. I know they have a bundle. They have probably the plugin available by itself. And then there's, two versions of it, There's one that's slightly more geared towards delay and the tone of the delay, almost kind of like a filter delay from Ableton Live. But then you have the classic H3000 factory. And that's cool because just tons of presets that just work. Okay, we heard it today on vocal and things like that. They really sound great. So, yeah, we kind of went crazy on this episode, deep into the weeds, but yeah, let me know what you think of this. Talk to you soon.